Presently, Sarah produces podcasts for Shameless Magazine site as their web producer. And Sarah was also an emerging writer in the 2011 Diaspora Dialogues mentorship program and will be reading 4 poems this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Feldbloom.
Okay, this poem is about the blackout. When the lights went out on the eastern seaboard. I was standing surprised in a blue mask and yellow throwaway dress cover. It was the summer of SARS, and I was a screener, in charge of regulating visitors at a palliative care center. I'd been telling the temperature through the ear of an 80-year-old Ukrainian. His drums were dressed with potatoes, and so was the thermometer cover. When the lights went out, I clicked the tip into the appropriate waste receptacle. My coworkers jumped with the generator. Our atrium stopped in motion capture quietude, broken by a few creaks and clunks, till the sound of wheelchairs steering into elevators started up again. Christina grabbed my arm. "How will we get home?" She lived at Weston Road. I said, "Maybe you can come to my place. I mean, do you think it's safe out there? Maybe we can walk home." And we did. 3 hours and a half in convocation down the country's longest road. The streets stopped in gridlock. As our assembly of commuters continued the walkathon, we were cheered on. Church of Scientology volunteers offering magic mini cups of water, singing Summer, and bar owners emptying their beer tanks into crowds of stalling roamers. By the time we got to Steeles, the city was black, no sky pollution to guide us. When we came up my driveway across from Giros Lord Park, my porch was different, soaked in starlight. In patio chairs, we sat and watched pure flecks of white night dangle like loose polka dots from the sky. August 14th, 2003, Toronto. My next poem is about Toronto in November, which is undoubtedly the worst month of the year in Toronto. It's just terrifying, for me anyway, emotionally terrifying. But I think that angst and darkness can definitely be a good thing, and I feel that every November in Toronto. November. White and black have come to share their blankets, covering the concrete landscape. Trees race each other to become bare. Piles of decomposing leaves shiver, liquefying gutters. Dark mornings sit down, and dark afternoons, and pitch black evenings. And what time is it? Let's start drinking. It's 5:30. Winter's arm around your shoulder, you begrudgingly let the cold in. Let yourself shift. Buy a winter coat and start wearing it. Notice the half-frozen moisture drip off your eyelashes and zippers as you sweat to undress, hat and mitts in every hallway. You find yourself sniffling on the porch, in bed, filled at first with weary, intimidated by the snowmanship of the outdoors bleary. Watch the frozen ribbon thaw on a gift from you addressed to yourself. Unwrap it to find a new reality inside your same old geography. The universe has given you seasons so that you can travel inside your own context. In the breath of autumn's death, you hug this glow-in-the-dark paradigm to your chest. You know it's best. My great-grandfather came to Toronto from Poland just before World War II. And growing up, in terms of my cultural identification, I would have only considered myself Jewish. I probably never would have mentioned to anybody that I was Polish as well. But a few years ago, I went to Poland with my best friend who immigrated to Canada when she was 6. And I wrote this poem while I was there. It's called Poland Here and There. This is where my family lived once. Warsaw streets now white noise, and Canadian kitchens filled by English voices, occasionally spawning Jewish vices. Hamantaschen, soup ganiot, and mandelbrot. A background of crumbled gravestones and alternate names for soft gingerbread. Digging up unmarked spaces in my mind for Polish sounds, tongue spinning jam cookies, bread, and deli slices round. Those deli trays. Minus the eggs and mayonnaise, add a kosher symbol and some Yiddish names. And there you have a modern plate. The tastes from which I was raised. Dairy kitchens in Jewish community centers. Hebrew and English letters pressed against wide streets, maple and pine trees. Plastic placemats and sterling silver. Brushed away crumbs we claim to remember. So I think that one of the absolute best things about Toronto is that so many people that I love live here, and that's what I think the fundamental reason why I always come back to this place. So this poem is about one of my closest friends. It's called Knit Me a Sweater, You Young Go-Getter. Yesterday I had a talk with the girl I love, my heart partner, my friendship bracelet. She's fearless, designing the crest of our future. We knit bits of it into my t-shirt, sitting in our living room together. Tonight she's with a new man, red hair and black leather. Was with him when the time changed, in the hours after I told my mother, and our friends, that I'm choosing to be a feather and flit whimsy up to the East Ocean. Knit me a sweater, you young go-getter, my Betty Boop, my reflection, my helpful dupe. Knit me a sweater to wear when the damp winds spin too chilly, and I am growing older across the wet blanket Atlantic pond, glazed with slippery lilies. You will bind your books, drawing looks from all the fabulous suitors who dare to pursue the manic and sadness in you. I will wear the time we've stitched in rainbows and rhyme. I will kiss the blissful mist of blue bottles and lime, emptying memories I've stacked beside our bottom-rotted recycle bin in the home we've cultivated. Here, 6 months of the year, we've watched slime and waste melt in the sleet in the starlit alley that sides us. We've regarded it optimistically as our window feast. I remember when we nicked that bottle of champagne, the first night in August we dozed together under our dot plot of Toronto sky. Here we've kissed each other's cheeks through seasons of bad weather, laughing all through the navy blue nights. I've clung to you, a pencil in the wool breast pocket you wore to my dorm when I first met you at the University of BC. Gulping from my pot of English toffee tea, we gazed at the steps that we'd walk down to the West Ocean together. You nurtured my glee while I searched for the end of the spool in me, while I lit the thread and looped the needle. And I pumped the pedal while you lined up the metal prick with the fabric you picked for your own design of wit. I love the broken bricks and moldy sticks you cart home off giveaway lawns to make into forts and domes and decorate our quirky life endeavor. Knit me a sweater, you young go-getter, and I will knit one too. I can't wait to see yours on you. I can't wait to wear mine.